Welcome to PhD&D on YouTube. I want to talk today about campaign prologues. This is something I have not done in the past, and many of you might have done it, but I've received some inspiration for the upcoming campaign that I'm going to start here in about a month or two. And this is something I want to do, especially since I'm using a new setting. I feel like a prologue session is going to be very beneficial, and I'll tell you why. A prologue is, as many of you know, let me just get the definition up here, a separate introductory section of a literary or musical work. That is one definition of a prologue. Now, it's usually at the beginning, like I said, of something, and it's usually going to, in my experience at least, with reading a lot of fantasy books, the prologue is not necessarily tied to the main characters of the story, at least not the initial main characters. A prologue is usually somewhere else in the world, just to give you a taste of things, and I'm going to explain why that is and how you can use that in your D&D campaign. Campaign prologue, at least the way I'm going to use it, is going to be one session. It's going to happen before session 0. Session 0 is kind of the session where you meet up, create characters, they kind of figure out how they know each other, or you can, search and do small adventures to find their equipment. There's a lot of good examples of Session 0. But the prologue will come before that even. They will create heroes at a higher level with, within the setting. It's something where they can, I wouldn't necessarily, assuming you're using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, which is what I'll be using, I wouldn't necessarily tell them to make a level 20 character, but give them some real power. Have them make a level 7 or a level 10 character and come to this session and let them know it's a prologue, that this is probably the only session they're going to use that character, but to give them an epic backstory, make them a hero, make them really, really cool. Because the campaign prologue will take place in a different part of the world. So let's establish the 3 things that you should do with campaign prologue. Number 1, you want to give a good preview of the setting that you're going to use, especially if it's new. This is your chance to sell them on your setting. Not that you need to sell your players on your setting, but this is the opportunity to show them what it has to offer, to show them what they're going to be able to uncover in the actual campaign. If you're starting a campaign at level 1, which I recommend, they're not going to see a lot of the cool stuff right away. They're going to they'll uncover it as the campaign goes on. So the prologue is your opportunity to show them what's out there, show them what this setting is about. So pick a cool location, pick some epic NPCs and heroes, and a big-time storyline for that. Number 2 thing that should always be done with a prologue is set the theme and tone of the setting and campaign. This is where you want to set it. Is this going to be a dark story, a high fantasy, really happy type story? Really set the theme and tone within the prologue so they, once again, kind of see what this is all going to be about. And lastly, a prologue needs to tell a good story. This is the session where you don't necessarily need to railroad them, with a certain plot line, certain everything, but you need to have an idea of where this one's going. Make sure you tell a specific story with the prologue, because you want this, it's one session, so you want there to be kind of the build-up and the big finish, and then you move on and start the campaign. Because this needs to be very memorable, very fun, and very big, so they know what's going on somewhere else in the campaign. So let me give you an example of what I'm going to use. And what I'm going to use is actually a resource that you can have access to because it's free. But for BrigadeCon 2014, Critical Hit Publishing worked with the YouTube RPG Brigade to kind of come up with a PDF called Locations, Encounters, and Hooks. Free PDF, I'll link to it in the description. This is perfect for you to find your campaign prologues, one session ideas. And I'm going to use one by Matt Click that I liked a lot and that is perfect for the prologue, and it's called Fallen Star. This is basically where an elven kingdom or conclave and a dwarven kingdom or group, they're kind of almost at war when a falling star hits, or they can not be at war and they are at war because it hits. So this fallen star comes, boom, blows up, there's a giant crater. So my player characters are going to start They've got the Dwarven army on one side, the Elven army on the other side. They're ready to go to war over this fallen star. The Dwarves want it for the star steel, or some precious metal within it. The Elves want it because they revere it as sacred. And the heroes, or the party, are kind of in between. What do they choose to do? Do they choose to kind of tell both sides, whoa, 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 we can handle this peacefully? Or do they join a side and an all-out war starts, which can be carried out in the rest of the campaign and be uncovered later as a story? But that is an epic example that you can use for a prologue where they jump right into the action. Big, fun, fantastic setting, fantastic story. Give them a taste of the setting, the theme, the tone, and again, tell that story. Those are the three big things. Tell the cool story. This is a big thing here, the campaign prologue, to kind of set the lines for what the rest of the campaign is going to be. So I'm going to use, like I said, Fallen Star, written by Matt Click, in the Locations, Encounters, and Hooks PDF, but that's a great resource where you can find something for your campaign prologue to do. So in my campaign, that prologue session is going to have nothing to do with the actual characters that they're going to create at session 0. I thought about having it be like grandparents or whatever, but no. It's going to be completely unrelated. But that is a story that is rumors are going to be spreading throughout the campaign about this thing going on. And the players themselves, not their characters, have already had an inside look at it. They've actually influenced it with their decisions in the campaign prologue. So they've influenced major story things already. Even at level 1 with their campaign characters, they've already influenced the story during the prologue. And that story they'll play out with their new characters. So anyways, that is my ramble, incoherent or coherent, you choose, on campaign prologues. Remember, preview your setting, set the theme and tone, and tell a story. So I want to know in the comments, have you ever used a campaign prologue? Give me examples. I want to hear how you've used them, and if you think this is a good idea or if you think it's a bad idea. Just let me know, and also check the description for the link to that awesome PDF where you can get examples. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.